Hey BookTube, welcome to Jackie's Living Corner. I am Jackie, and I'm sorry, unfortunately we are in a different filming location for now because my bookshelf is being repainted to match my new chair, and then my dad, I'm fortunate enough to have a dad who could build me another bookshelf, so that one's gonna also um match as well. So that corner of my room is kind of crowded right now, and then on top of that, the wall is blank at the moment. Although I'll still probably film there, even if there's nothing there for a while. But I think what we're gonna do is up a wall of pictures of like my nephews and my niece, probably, and like maybe some of the, and I did think it would be cute. I did suggest to my mom that it would be cute if we had pictures of the boys reading, because they have gotten into reading, or at least Harrison has more so than Daniel. I mean, Daniel more, it's like he probably likes listening to his parents or his Lola and Papa reading to him, or his other grandparents reading to him, than but I think Harrison definitely is into the reading. So we're gonna put I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a wall pictures behind the chair. And Sophie I love my Sophie girl, but she's an old girl and she can't see, and she steps on everything and is always in the way. Bless her heart, sweet girl. So, but I wanted to film a video because the YouTube algorithm is a pain in the butt, and I always feel like I can't wait too long before I film another video, and I don't want to get out of it, and I don't want to neglect you guys or neglect this channel, and I don't know when I'll do my usual reading update video. I don't know when I'll do that. I might do that tomorrow, but it will depend on, well, I might, either I'll do it tomorrow or I might wait until we're done with the shelf. Like we've moved it to where we're gonna put it. And of course that wall will still be blank. It won't have anything because I don't know when I'll get something to put on that shelf. And I might even, get some decals or a decal or something to put on that wall as well. But so I don't know how long I don't know how long that's gonna be blank, and I don't know when I'm gonna get the new shelf or not. But my current shelves will definitely, the way they're staying now blank, will definitely go with the wall. But anyway, I want to make a video where I showed you guys what I got for Christmas book-related items. Anyway, including this being one of them, my new favorite sweatshirt. It says, if you can't read it, it says, one more chapter. And then my mom also got me, I hate unfolding these things because I have to refold them. This, which is, I have no shelf control, which made me laugh. I love that. That made me smile and laugh. That was for my mom and dad. And then this was for my sister and brother-in-law. And it's so soft. I like I like the feeling of it, and I like I like that it says, just one more chapter. It's really cute. And now the only the three non-bookish items I got for Christmas, except for not counting some of the other clothes I got, like running clothes and stuff. Oh, and I guess I'll be right back. There's one more thing I can show you that applies. Forgot one more thing, which I will show you. Forgot one thing, and I will show you that thing in a minute. But the non-bookish items well, one of them is kind of bookish. Like it's, one of them is a comic book related item, and that's my coworker Virginia from work. I asked her, she wanted to get myself and a few other of our coworkers that she's friends with some gifts for Christmas, like a little something. So we decided to do a gift exchange of Funko Pops, and I got her a Daenerys Targaryen one with a baby version of one of her dragons when she's with the Dothraki, and I can never say the name of that group of people. And I asked her to get me Loki, so this is Loki in the gold standard edition or whatever. I don't know what it's actually called. And I was looking at the back of the box because, as you can see, I take these out of the box. And some people say, "Oh my God, you took it out of the box. It's not going to be worth anything anymore." But you know, I don't care. I collect them for me. I'm not at that point where I need to sell them. But I'm gonna do my best to make sure I'm never at that point where I need to sell these things for something. But I was looking at the back and looking at all the different versions. They have all the Avengers characters, and I think that's just the Avengers characters. And I was looking at the one for the Thor one, and I swear he looks like Tony Stark, the Thor one. You know, with the facial hair and stuff. It makes him look like Tony Stark instead of Thor. But yeah, he's so cute. And I also didn't realize that some of that originally these used to actually be bobbleheads. That some of these were made to have a bobbly head. And the one I got for Terry of Doku, I think that's how you say his name, the character that Christopher Lee played in the Star Wars trilogy. I got her that one, and she was saying how that one's the same thing. It does the bobbly head thing as well. It has the bobbly head as well. I like this. And then the other two non-book related items I got were two of my favorite movies that I've been dying to have. And finally, I was like, I told her, I want these, so just give me these. And of course she got me books too, and I didn't know what those books were, so there was some semblance of surprise with what she got me. But my sister kind of teased me about it because when I opened them, I was like, finally, like, but to one of my favorite Jim Carrey movies, where he is set in right after World War II, like going right into the whole era when they thought they created the whole committee, the FBI committee for detecting communists, and how a lot of people in Hollywood were blacklisted and suspected of being commies. And Jim Carrey plays the screenwriter, Peter Appleton. That's his. I couldn't think of his last name last night. Peter Appleton. He's accused of being a communist because he happened to, when he was younger and impressing a girl, he went to a communist party, not realizing they were communists, and essentially got blacklisted years later. And he decides, drunk and upset, he decides to take kind of a drive down the coast and ends up getting into a rainstorm and crashes his car in the river and ends up on the beach in the small town of Lawson, California. And he ends up, and he has lost his memory, as amnesia for hitting his head, and they mistake him for one of their sons who was, went to war because he looks a lot like him. And he is taken in by his father, and the father decides to open up the theater that they used to own, the Majestic Theater. And it's just about their relationship and opening up the theater, but there's also a romantic subplot of the guy's old girlfriend, thinking, because she thinks he's her old flame, they reconnect and fall in love. It's such a beautiful story. It's if you're a movie lover, then I think you would appreciate it. For how it touches on a lot of classic actors and the classic era of films and the magic of it. It's such a beautiful movie, and I definitely recommend it because I think Jim Carrey's dramas are some of my favorite movies. Like, I love his comedies, well, not all of them. See, that's the problem. That's the thing about the comedies. I'm kind of picky about the comedies, but the dramas I'm a little more like into. Now I haven't watched like his new series that he did, Just Kidding, or but I love I enjoy Man on the Moon. What is it called? The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I can't think of what else. I feel like those movies prove that Jim Carrey. Oh, and Number 23 is another good one, more horror. I feel like those movies prove that he could have done a more intimidating and scary Riddler instead of that crazy, kooky, like, he could have actually done the scary Riddler that, like, oh shit, this guy could kill you kind of Riddler. Like, I think if given the chance, he could have pulled that off. And then the other movie I got is Pleasantville with Tobey Maguire and Reese Witherspoon, who play a brother and sister, Jennifer and David. And Jennifer's the cool girl. She smokes. She's like trying to get together with her hot crush, who's a tough guy. She's always just. And meanwhile, Tobey Maguire kind of plays a dorky guy who's like, he's obsessed with this particular Leave It to Beaver type show called Pleasantville. And he loves it because it's like takes you back to simpler times when husband and wife are still together and happily married, and siblings fight, but they still they have a great relationship, and it's just, and everybody's friends with everybody, and it's very wholesome. And when him and his sister are fighting over control of the remote, they end up breaking it, and the mysterious TV repairman shows up, played by Don Knotts, and he gives them a new remote when he finds out that David is obsessed with Pleasantville. And this remote sucks them into the world of Pleasantville, but they have trouble adapting to their situation, and Jennifer starts to slowly change things, make things a little less Pleasantville-ish and a little more, the real world, which causes a lot of controversy because it ends up leading to the town changing and not being so pleasant and being complicated, and the teenagers getting more exposed to things, like sex and books, and and the whole idea of having beds where two people can share the bed instead of having two separate ones, and they show this through not just through a lot of creative means. Like there's color, all of a sudden everything is turning colors because the show, the Pleasantville's in black and white. The books, when they first got here, the books were blank, and then when David and Jennifer start telling them about what's in the books, in the stories, all of a sudden the pages magically start filling in and the story comes alive. And it's like their world is rocked essentially, and it's no longer perfect and pleasant. And it's such a great a great movie. If you haven't watched it, both these movies, I love both these movies. I mean, that's why I wanted them, and I definitely recommend checking them out. Now let's get back to the book related things. So finally got them. The vintage editions of two of my favorite Jane Austen novels that I actually listened to on audiobook last year, and that is Mansfield Park and Emma. But these are so beautiful, and I love these cover designs, and I like and it has the French flaps, and then I like how the end pages are the color of some of the other books in this collection. And of course, there's a quote on the back instead of a back description. There's a quote, although of course the description is in the French flap part of the book. But I like these vintage editions, and I would be tempted to, if I like Northanger Abbey, I would be tempted to get Northanger Abbey in this edition as well, if I end up enjoying it. But I have that one on the Penguin Mass Market edition. But I loved Emma. I loved Emma's character. I feel like she's very different than Austen's usual heroines, and she's fun, and just, I think a lot of people favor Emma next to Pride and Prejudice. But then I think a lot of people, because of Emma, they don't, the title character Emma, they don't love the book either. I mean, they don't, I think there are people, some people that love and some people that hate it. And then I got Mansfield Park, which I feel like in Mansfield Park I could kind of relate to Fanny Price, and like her personality and mine are similar. Although I have learned to be not as shy as she is. But, and of course I love the green color. So yeah, I figured start with my favorites, and then, if I want, like, any of the other Jane Austen in this edition, then I'll get them. I also my mom got me this. Originally, though, when I first pointed this one out to her, I originally was like, I want to get this for the kids, my nephews and niece, when they get a little bit older, because it's like, it's a kid's version of some of Dickens' novels, A World Full of Dickens stories. So it has, first, I love the artwork, like the cover, and then the end pages, and then I love this artwork, but it has, in this one, it has Oliver Twist, and then, which I feel like that's one I would first want to read to the boys and their sister. And then, although my own sister would just realize how depressing that one is, and Oliver goes through a lot of crap in that story. The Old Curiosity Shop, A Tale of Two Cities, of course, Christmas Carol, David Copperfield, Great Expectations, Nicholas Nickleby, and Hard Times. And there is a picture that represents each story. Like, you have the door knocker for A Christmas Carol, you have a little factory for Hard Times, you have, for David Copperfield, you have the sign that says when his sister makes him wear the take care no, not his sister. I can't remember what, actually, I think it is his sister, makes him wear the sign that says take care he bites. Although I might be getting that mixed up with Great Expectations. Great Expectations, you have the part when the grave, where Pip is at the grave, where A Tale of Two Cities has the knitting needles, because remember I can't remember her name, that one woman, Defarge, would always be knitting. I still do not remember the reason why. I need to reread that for the third time, because I do not remember why she's always knitting. So, and then Oliver Twist, I don't know what that one represents. But I almost feel like reading these would help me understand the story better, would understand some of the ones I haven't read yet, because it kind of simplifies it a little bit more. And then we have, okay, so, and then the rest of these gifts are from my, family, my extended family. So one of my aunts got me a book light. Although I'm a little wary about these kinds of books because I always worry it's gonna not. So that's really. I always appreciate a book light. And then that also got me this, a book a travel book stand to hold the book in your lap whenever like you go traveling and stuff. You attach it here. Although only certain books will fit on this thing. I noticed. I found that like the big tomes will not fit as easily. The bigger tomes won't fit as easily on this thing as will like thin paperbacks. Like these probably will not. I don't know if I'll be able to get these on here. So that's a little disappointing, but I mean, I don't know how you would get something better for that too. I don't know how you would get something better to like fit a chunky book like this on. But still, it's still really nice, and because I mean my arms kind of get tired sometimes when even if I decide to read, just laying on my stomach on my bed, and I feel like stretching out my arms like this to because it can hurt sometimes, holding your arm a certain way for so long. And then I also got, I should have done an order to these, but I didn't think about that. I was more just wanting to get film this video before my mom and dad got back because they had to pick up my dad's car. So here are some bookmarks I got, and I think I want to say I got one more bookmark from my sister, but she said this was a company, possibly on Etsy, I think she said. There's this one, it says, Love Mod, pretty things for bookish people. Oh, it's Instagram. It's an Instagram thing. Which that still was my mom found out that's kind of dangerous because you can go crazy shopping on Instagram. So, that I decided to, I don't know if this is intended as a bookmark or not, but I'm using it as a little bookmark for some of my smaller books. And then I also got from another bookmark, and I want to say I got one more bookmark type from my sister, but I don't remember which one. But she also got me one of these, which I've seen on a subscription box. I've seen these. And I did always want one, but I never, I didn't want to subscribe to a box because then I would be getting more books in the mail. And, I don't need that. Probably I just need to, So it has all these pretty flowers. It's a, not felt, I can't remember what this material is called. It's the same material as actually on my pillows. My reading pillows. But it's really pretty. Like I said, I think she got me one more, but I don't remember which one. It's somewhere in one of my books, I think. But yeah, I always love bookmarks. If someone wants to give me more than just a book for Christmas, give me a bookmark. I mean, that's what I always tell people. And then my other aunt and uncle got me these bookmarks. I think this might have been my mom in them. I have to ask. Wait, no, I think this was one from my mom and them that got me these Friends bookmarks, which I almost bought these at Books A Million. And I love those magnetic bookmarks because they stay more secure. They're not gonna fall out. You still have to be careful how many pages you put in between the bookmark, depending on the size of the bookmark, the magnetic part. Like this won't hold as many, but some of my bigger ones, like the ones I got last year for Game of Thrones, those are the bigger ones. These might be these might hold a little bit more, although they're pretty small too. But my aunt and uncle got me the other aunt and uncle got me these bookmarks, these magnetic ones, and I think I must have looked confused because they were like my cousin felt like she had to tell me what these were, and I'm familiar, I always, like I said, I love using those bookmarks, so I knew what they were, but I guess I looked like I didn't, and she felt like she had to kind of explain it to me, these that these were the magnetic ones. And they really have these really cute designs on them, like one is kind of a rainbow, one is polka dots, and then one is kind of a stripes, red and white stripes, and then some of them say like one left off here, and one page more, and fell asleep here. Those are cute. Those are cute. And then I got ones that I got from Santa, which I actually knew about these because I helped my mom pick out the Christmas stockings for myself and my cousins. Which, that's actually one other thing. I don't know where that is. I'll have to look for that, but I do have one other thing. I don't remember where I put it. Somewhere amongst all my stuff. But there's actually a pen, and it is Harry Potter pen, that I got, but I don't know where that is. I have to look through all my stuff. I totally forgot about that. I wonder if that's in my purse. I'll have to look. Unless it's somewhere in here amongst all this stuff. I don't know where it is. I'll have to look for it. But, these are ones that I got in my stocking at my grandma's house because, like I said, I actually knew about these because I was with my mom when she bought the stuff for the stocking stuffers, and I just picked them out for myself. And these are Alice in Wonderland clothes. And I remember Alice in Wonderland is not my favorite classic, but I do want to reread it. But I love the artwork in Alice in Wonderland. This says, "You may call it nonsense if you like, but I've heard nonsense compared with which that would be as sensible as a dictionary." I love the quotes in Alice in Wonderland. And then, "If you know time as well as I do, you wouldn't talk about wasting it." Which that one, I don't know where this one is from, this quote, but this is, I believe, the Mad Hatter says that. Which, yeah, it makes sense because the Mad Hatter is on the cover of the book. So who's on this one? Maybe it's the Queen. Maybe it's the Queen of Hearts. Maybe she's the one who said it. She must be the one who said that one. So those are all my bookmarks. Like I said, I think there's one more bookmark, but I can't remember. My mom and dad also are, no, actually this might have been in my another gift from Santa here at for my stocking at this house, which is a book stamp. A lot of people have, like, they'll put their, the library of so-and-so. Well, my mom, she uses this kind of stamp for, like, address labels instead of getting those little sticky address labels because we don't have any of those anymore. So she now uses this, so she got this for me to stamp in my books. Which, so I was, and I kind of figured that was coming because my mom and I kind of talked about it briefly, and I mentioned that I would like one, or she asked me if I would like one, and I said yes. So, yeah, so this says, "From the Library of Jacqueline Anderson, read it, love it, return it." Although she said she was going to put something else on it, but then I don't know what happened, like it didn't, there was, she changed her mind or something. And then let's see, what else did I get? So I better find that pen, that's gonna bug me. Okay, and then my other aunt, the one who got me this in the booklight, she also got me, which, again, another situation where I kind of knew I was going to get these. Like, at this point, it feels like I almost have some idea, always have some idea of what I'm going to get for Christmas. Or at least have some, or I might, I usually, if I don't tell anyone specific things, and just give them a list or something, then I have some basic idea of what I'm gonna get. Okay, so I got Ian Forster's Howard's End. And I remember seeing previews for the movie one time on one of my other movies. I remember seeing like the previews for the movie or miniseries version of this, start with Emma Thompson and what is his and Anthony Hopkins, with Sir Anthony Hopkins. Which at the time I feel like at the time I did not realize it. I didn't think about that, but I think I do remember seeing the preview. It might have been on one of my Warner Brothers version of Secret Garden or something. I don't know, but one of my movies I remember seeing the preview for Howard's End, the movie or miniseries. And I just know that it's about two sisters and they get mixed up with a family. And the sisters, I believe, are from old money, just the noble, rich kind of people. Like they're just wealthy. Maybe the patriarch, the family patriarch, had a lot of money or was a self-made man originally, and then the other, and then the family, and then the other family of the boys is more. They are more self-made. And they own a company and stuff. And I think it's about their relationship with them and like something like that. Again, I just remember liking the idea of the story, but I don't remember off the top of my head exactly what it's about. And then I also got the other two books I got are the collected Oscar Wilde, which this one actually has the Canterville Ghost, which I've heard a couple times on BookTube. People like Katie from Books and Things, and Kate Howe, and I can't think of her name. I can't remember. I can picture her. She's I can't remember her name. She just moved back to Germany. So she's a German American German booktuber, but I cannot remember her name. Can't think of it right now. But she was in the. But I've heard a lot of them mention the Canterville Ghost, and I want to read just some of his other works. Like this has. His fiction is The Portrait of Mr. W.H., Lord Arthur Saville's Crime, Model Millionaire, The Canterville Ghost, The Young King, The Birthday of Infantata, The Fisherman and His Soul, The Remarkable Rocket, Poems in Prose, The Artist, The Disciple, The Master, The House of Judgment, The Teacher of Wisdom. I'm curious about that, Poems in Prose. I can't remember who it was, but I recently watched someone's video where they talk about how they do not like poems in prose. So now I'm curious about what that looks like. Okay, and then these are the regular poems. Theocritus, I don't know if I'm saying that right. The Harlot's House, Impression de Voyage, Impression du Martin, Symphony in Yellow, Impressions Le Réveillon, Impressions 1 Le Jardin, 2 La Mar, Le Jardin, 3 Le Jardin des Touleurs. Sorry, I don't know. I do not know French. My sister is the one who took French. The Ballad of Reading Gull. Again, my sister is the one who took French, and my dad would also be. He never took French. I don't think he did. He would be good at figuring out what those words are. He's just someone who's just. I don't know, he's not a protege, but he's good at, picking up accents. And, being able to adapt to them and figuring it out. Like, he's good with languages. He must be, maybe he's like Tolkien. Although I don't know if he can make up his own language like Tolkien did. Okay, lectures. The English Renaissance, Decorative Art America, which I'm curious about those lectures. Okay, and then Journalism on America, Impressions of America, The American Invasion, The American Man on Art, Mr. Whistler's 10 O'Clock, The Relations of Dress to Art, a note in black and white on Mr. Whistler's lecture, London Models, on literature, dinners and dishes, to read or not to read, Balzac in English. The only time I've ever heard of Balzac, I've never actually read any of his stuff, but I heard in the musical The Music Man. That's one of the books that Marion the librarian reads. She reads Balzac. Anyway, it's just so, one of my favorite scenes is Pick a Little Talk a Little, where they're basically mocking Marion the librarian, her taste, and how scandalous she is, and and just it's a funny song. It's cute. The Poets and the People, Poetry in Prison, the Gospel According to Walt Whitman, which I almost bought some Walt Whitman poetry. Although he might have been the one that I didn't. No, I think he was there. But I decided to start with a female poet first when I bought my first poetry. Unless you count, Edgar Allan Poe. Mr. Pater's last volume, Appreciations. Okay, and then Essays, The Decay of Lying, The Critic as Artist, Part 1, The Critic as an Artist, Part 2, The Truth Unmasked, The Soul of Man Under Socialism. This could be interesting. It's going to be interesting, especially with our political situation right now. Aphorisms, a few maxims. Okay. Oh, so this one has the importance of being earnest in it. Okay, I think that's all the. I don't know. I love collecting these Barnes and Noble classics. I know collectors. I know a lot of people, because they're not very, they're not super exciting or anything. It's just like the penguins, except for it's a little different design than the penguins, and there's no penguin symbol, obviously. But I like that each one is a different color. I love this portrait of Oscar Wilde. I really, really like it. This portrait of him. Okay, and then we have Daniel Deronda by George Eliot. So I have 3 George Eliot, one of her shortest novel, and then her longer ones. And I believe it's like this guy who falls for this very vain woman who kind of takes advantage of him or something. Not in a naughty way, obviously, but she's kind of mean to him. Something like that. I think that's what I heard. Something along those lines. And I do believe that the movie version, I believe I know in the movie version or the miniseries version who plays him. I'm not sure who exactly it is, but I think I have an idea. It's an actor I've seen before, like in other stuff. This is my second pink one. I have 2 pink. I have a bright pink one, and then I have this softer pink one. So one day I'll have to do again the rainbow shelf again, because I put a lot of books that are different colors, especially when I get especially getting the Barnes and Noble classics. Okay, and then the aunt who got me the magnetic bookmark, she also got me, and this was one of the ones that she asked me for ideas, and I told her I wanted a book tote bag. So she got me this one. And that's I think that's a South Carolina thing to get the get this, your initials, print, this design of your initials on your clothes or on like bags and stuff. I think that's a Carolina thing. And that's also what on the Vera Bradley bags, which are cute, nice bags, by the way, if you ever heard of Vera Bradley. They also do that on that, and I think Vera Bradley originally comes from, I want to say South Carolina. I have to look that up. But I've seen a couple people at the store with Vera Bradley purses. But yeah, I think this is a Carolina thing. So it's a nice little tote with a solid on, which I appreciate, because it's hard when you have to open the bag, and then the only way you're gonna get to open is if you put stuff in it. And then it has these different individual slots. And jokingly, my aunt was saying I could put my alcohol in here in these different slots, like my wine. So, but I could probably, this is probably used for things like, probably uses like for things like lunch and stuff. So I would, that I like that. And then the last thing that from Terry, other than the movies, that I did not know I was getting, although, obviously it was on my list. So, Path of Daggers was I finally got to go to the Book Castle bookshop again and donate some books. And of course I bought some books. And I was looking at, there were some of the Wheel of Time books there, and I was seeing on which ones they have, because I'm trying to get them all in order. So I don't know if I saw Crown of Swords there, but I did see Path of Daggers in Crossroads of Twilight. I think I saw that one too. Or maybe not, maybe I saw, but this is book 6, because I already had books 1 through 5, and I need to, this year I want to read at least up to book 7. Or although I might just read up to book 6. I don't know. Either way, I want to get a good amount of the series read. But this is book 6, Sword of Chaos. And like I said, I'm not gonna even. I'm sure you've heard of this series if you're a fantasy reader. You probably know what this is about, or at least have heard of it. But yeah, I got the book 6, and then she also got me. And this one I can actually start reading, is the 4th book in the Temeraire series, which is such a great series. So fun. And it takes the idea of what if they had dragons during the Napoleonic Wars. Like, what kind of power that would mean, and for, for the whole world. And who would, what it would be all about, not necessarily who had the best guns, but who has the best dragon fire. This is so cute. This is the 4th book. Oh, of course. The plot of the book involves an epidemic. I had no idea I really, seriously did not have any idea that there was an epidemic in the story. But it does provide an interesting narrative and kind of scare, and a really intense narrative, and create some easy drama if there's if there's an epidemic and people are dying. So I can jump into this now. I can finally jump into that, and I think that's it. Like I said, I want to say there's one other bookmark that Jessie got me, my sister. I don't remember when it. Again, my room is kind of a mess anyway, and I gotta find that pen I got in my stocking. I'll have to find that one, so I can in all this crazy mess of my room. But anyway, so that is what I got. All the book related items I got for Christmas. I got a few other things that aren't book related. But I would love to hear how your Christmas was this year. And also how was your New Year's? I know it's I was lucky enough that my sister was able to come with her little family unit safe, and it was able to spend Christmas with us, just us. So but I know a lot of people you couldn't spend time with. It was too risky for a lot of people to spend time with family, and no one knew for sure if it was safe. So I hope you still had a great Christmas despite the fact that this is still going on. This our own pandemic is still going on. And I hope you are wearing your mask and washing your hands regularly, and staying 6 feet apart from each other, but being friendly and kind to each other, because I think we need that. Every single person on the planet needs kindness in their lives, needs someone to help, needs just kindness. And if you were able to get together with have some family around you for Christmas, I hope you did. At least you know, not maybe not a lot, but at least some family members, or at least you were able to communicate with your family via like Zoom or something, or you know. But if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Click subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell notification below to see when I post new videos. Again, I hope you had a great Christmas, and I will talk to y'all later. Alright, bye!